And we're live.
Here we are.
We made it happen. We made it happen. So for everyone tuning in, welcome to the Second City Life podcast, episode 11. 11. I mean, we were supposed to do something different for episode 11, but things didn't work out. But nonetheless, we're going to have an amazing episode. So thank you for tuning in. This is the second to last episode. I decided to come back for Facebook to kind of finish off the season here and then pick it back up, just kind of giving everyone an intro as to we will be on YouTube for season 2 for the whole season. But other than that, I really don't have any other announcements, at least not at the moment that I can think of. So I want to welcome my guest. Some of you guys might know him. You guys who are tuning in may know him. He plays on the White Sox. It's got a pretty long resume. I'll let him talk about that. I know him as LG. I'll let him introduce himself to the podcast. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Well, everyone who knows me as LG. My first name is pronounced LaGaryne.
LaGaryne,
so we shortened it up. But been with the White Sox for say 5 or 6 years now. Seems longer. But we kind of merged with the White Sox with the team over there. I used to be called the Cubs. Not the Cubs, but the Bears.
The Bears. Okay.
We were the Bears. We were the Bad News Bears.
The Bad News Bears.
Yes.
I saw somebody when I put the flyer out for the podcast. Somebody did say something about the Bad News Bears, so you gotta have to talk a little bit about that. What's up? I'll let you keep going. We digress.
Yes. But I started baseball at 4.
Okay.
JRW was huge. Every summer or every spring they had a big parade on the south side, right? So they would have the Battle of the Bands, and you used to see like the cheerleaders and all this, and so I used to go to the parade. So I asked my dad one day, and I said, Dad, I want to play. He said, okay, well, you got to learn how to throw and how to do this.
Yeah.
So the first year I couldn't play, and then that next year I came and they said I was too small.
Too small.
I was too small. Yeah, I was a short, fat guy. Right? You know what I mean? Before the face, I had like a baby face.
Okay.
So they were kind of worried about me. So I practiced with the team, and by like the second week, I was playing baseball.
Okay.
And then at that time we didn't have T-ball. We only had.
So you just went.
I went right to it.
Right to it. Okay.
I went right to it. Right. First game I got hit, and the rest is history. Right?
Okay. How old are you?
Oof.
If you don't mind me asking.
Oof. I'm old.
And I'm 36. I mean.
Older
than me. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah. No, I'm 40. Right. I turned 40.
Okay. Well, that's still young.
Yeah.
That's still young because I'm right there. I'm close to it.
That's relative to you know what I mean. So, I feel it.
Okay, so you've been playing for quite a while.
Yes.
That's awesome. That's awesome. See, I just picked up baseball. Just tell people that I went to a batting practice this past week with the D-backs on Sunday. They invited me over. I needed to handle a couple of things there with them.
Okay.
And their coach was there. So I was getting some BP in,
Okay.
and he tells me, he's like, oh, he's helping me, get my swing better. And then I told him, I've actually only been doing this for probably less than 6 months.
Right.
It's like, I thought if you even want to count the time, it's just like how many times have I actually been on the field.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, "Are you serious?" It's like, "Yeah. I mean, you see the guys that are right here. That's
Yeah.
why I wanted to play."
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
fantastic. I knew, that you've been doing this for so long.
Mm-hmm.
So talk to me about. I know you mentioned to me earlier, before the show that you played in the Little League World Series. How old were you at the time?
Well, so when we went to the World Series, I was 15.
Oh,
So
you were already 15. Okay,
it was not called it's the Little League World Series, but it's the senior league division.
Okay.
Right. So you have Little League, then you have junior, and then you have senior.
Okay.
So our same group, 11 and 12, we finished third in the state.
Okay.
And we got kicked out of like sectional and the state finals a bunch of times, and then one year we just kind of put it together.
Okay.
And we kind of stormed all the way through, and we ended up making it to the World Series.
Now, where did you attend? Where did you go to school at the time?
At the time, that was sophomore year in high school, so that was Simeon.
Simeon? Okay. Oh, so you went just down the road over there. Okay. And what was that journey like? So you said you guys kind of got bounced back off, from state a couple of times, right? So I'm assuming that's like your freshman, sophomore, junior year.
Well, the same guys. So the way JRW used to run it is they used to have whatever park that you were closest to.
Okay.
Right. Used to have a team. Right. So my dad used to work at a park called Oakdale. Right.
Oakdale. Where's that at?
It's on 95th and like Genoa.
No, I don't think I've heard of it. Wait, is it the one that's?
It's a very small park.
Okay,
like if you're driving from Halstead to, let's say, like Western, you'll probably miss it. But,
oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, it's a very small park.
Okay, so you played out of there?
Yes, that park had 4 or 5 teams. You had the Cubs, and then you had the A's, and you had different divisions.
Okay.
So I started with the Pee Wee clubs. My dad wasn't the coach at first. He didn't know too much about baseball, but since I loved it, he did too.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So that was the beginning, and we used to have really intense games with people in different parks.
Okay.
Right. So we had Mount Vernon Park was another that's a bigger park,
and they're still big right now. If I'm not mistaken, the teams over at Mount Vernon, they're pretty big right now.
Well, that's Jackie Robinson's kind of host.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so the Dodgers, who had the Phillies, it was intense. So we used to battle all spring, right, coming up, and then at the end of the summer, or right at the beginning of the summer, we put together an all-star team, right? So. A lot of those guys you were kind of competing against. You were competing against as far as for a spot, on the team. So that at a very early age, it kind of humbles you, right? Because just naturally, some kids are going to be further ahead than other kids, right? But thank God I kind of stuck with it, right?
So did you ever? So when you mentioned that you kind of stuck with it, so I'm assuming at some point you kind of got demotivated. You were some challenges. What kind of challenges did you get?
I was short and fat.
Just that.
I was short. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to play baseball if you can't run.
I mean,
you understand what I'm saying?
you play. Okay. Blue Island is not professional, but nonetheless very competitive. But we've seen some dudes just take off. And I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
Did you see the video I posted recently from one of the guys from the Southside Royals? They were it was a game against the Nationals at the stadium. He swiped 2 bags on Eddie, and then on the second swipe actually just took off all the way to home and scored. And I'm like, you see this little, like he's gonna come after me after this for saying this. You see this little short chubby guy, stubby guy just hauling and making it across. He's like, don't get me wrong, at the end of the whole thing he's like gasping for air. He's like, take this fucking mic off of me. But it was you can still be athletic,
Yeah,
so.
you can. But I think the beauty of JRW, even kind of looking back now, all those guys, most of those guys either went to a really, really good university, not a JUCO or college, but a really good university, and some even got selected to, 20th round of the the Royals or
Nice.
yeah, and you look back and you say, man, I used to play against these guys all the time. You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
when you're in it, it's kind of hard to see, right?
Yeah.
Because you can only, and that's, I think that was our biggest challenge too, because, we were kind of taught to kind of hit the ball as hard as we could, right? Throw the ball as hard as we can, right? We used to play burnout, strikeout. Like this was the way we got ready for baseball. That's okay when you're in district, right? Because it used to be district, sectional, state, regional, then the World Series. So we used to make it to district. Shout out to my boy Dave Arnold. Like, so he probably has some stories about that.
I might, get him to come on here. I gotta, there's a list. I have a list right now. People that are trying to come on here. So
he's a beast. But he was one of the guys that played in another league.
Okay.
So we would play him in a district. Now the challenge is when we got to sectionals, the teams like Evergreen Park, Crestwood, those ball clubs, they used to play small ball, honestly. We would never lose because the pitcher was just dominating, but we would lose because essentially, they would just play the game the right way.
Yeah.
And a lot of people kind of a lot of people kind of they wanted to. So how about this? Because I'm trying not to say too much, but a lot of people, when it comes to the game of baseball, right, there is several different ways you can play.
Yes.
Right. You have the Caribbean way, right? You have the way the Negro Leaguers used to kind of play, kind of fast, kind of flashy. You have the fundamental way, right? Yeah. But it's all about how you adjust. Yes. And as little kids, right, we didn't necessarily adjust, right? So it's like repetition. How many times we fill in the bunt? Yeah. Right? I'm going up there trying to hit the ball as hard as I can. They bunt, I fly out and they score 2 runs. Yeah. That's how we would lose. So it would happen year after year after year. And then eventually when we got to high school, it kind of clicked because we kind of saw it so much that we was like, oh, okay, he's going to bunt. Let me just take that away. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yes. Or instead of me trying to swing for the fence, let me just go ahead and just make some contact up the middle. So we had to approach the game a different way. So that was a really, really great experience.
Yeah, that's, I say this all the time when I'm watching, I've been around the Blue Island League now for 2 years and got to see all types of teams. You got the teams who just like to crush the ball and just trying to knock it out the park every single time. But sadly, you can't do it every time. Right. And then they end up, that backfires, like you say, because you got the teams that they're playing against, small ball. Just make contact, put it in play. Put it in play and make the defense beat you. Right? Absolutely. And when you're not ready for that, I've seen it. I've seen it in playoff games at that. Oh, yeah. Somebody bunt the ball. Oh, yeah. And people just freeze because I'm like, what do you mean? Like, they got a guy on base, no outs. They want to move him. They want to put a run up. Like, if you think it's stupid, it's like, well, why couldn't he just hit it? And it's like, yeah, but it's a guaranteed move him. Oh, yeah. Now you just got 2 guys on base because you didn't even try to protect it.
And it puts a lot of pressure on the pitcher as well.
Yeah.
Right? Because now I can't make a mistake.
Nope.
I have very little room for error. So it makes the pitcher's job tougher.
So what do you think? So you mentioned, okay, so in high school, it just kind of clicked. And then that's when you guys started playing small ball, and then you guys made it past those rounds to go all the way to where you did. Do you guys play, you said third? Or where did you guys?
When we moved to the World Series?
Yeah. Yeah. Third? How was that feeling to kind of get knocked out and not make it to the end?
How was the feeling to get knocked out?
Yeah. At that age.
So you work so hard to get there, right? You work hard to get there and everything. It's a little league is a really big deal. People don't realize that. We had people following us home, right? So because you had to live it within the district, right? So we would meet up and people would follow us home and ask us questions and all that. But
that's crazy.
It was serious, very serious. But when we got down there, it was It was beautiful. We played in the AAA stadium for the Astros.
Oh, that's awesome.
And you know, this is city kids. We've never seen anything
No.
like this, right? So we like, oh my God, like this is amazing. We're signing autographs. We feel like little rock stars.
Wow,
Yeah,
dude, that's the experience. You know, that somebody wants. That's people's dreams.
Absolutely, and it was a great feeling. And we had some great games.
Do you remember what teams you faced? From where were they coming from at all?
Oh yeah. I got a story for you. So first game down, we play New York.
Okay.
Right. And Vince Davis, people will probably know him in the chat, but he's with the Chicago Ace program now. He's a pitching instructor.
Okay.
Vince was like a Randy Johnson, like coming up. He's tall, he's about 6'5", 6'6", and he could just throw it. So Vince ends up beating New York 3-1 on a bunt.
On a bunt. Speaking of that,
yeah, one of our guys, I think it was Matt. He ends up bunting the ball, and the guy throws it away, and you know that changes from a 1-1 game to a 3-1 game. Mm-hmm. So we win that, and I remember my coach was saying, "Hey, the team to beat is Florida," because the way it worked, I guess Florida had so many teams that they just had like a state tournament. Whoever won that state tournament automatically had the bid to the World Series, right? Okay. So I get my stuff on after the game, and I wanted to go see the best team. I go see the guy, and it's this white guy, man. And he's like kind of weird looking, right? Like kind of, you know, you kind of cool at 15, 16, you kind of get in your stride, right? Yeah. But you just see this guy, he's like hands all in his mouth and is like looking weird. But he gets up and he hits one off the center field wall. Wow. It's like, wow. So I said, okay. Shortstop. I said, okay. Now, my guys, I know what we could do, right? So it's kind of intimidating to kind of see, like, whoa, he's doing this at a real stadium.
Yeah.
Right? So we got some competition. Like, we got fired up. So this guy just goes crazy. He hits one off the wall. He's like two or three doubles, right? The next day, they said, "Hey, you want to go back to the stadium?" I said, "Nah, what's up?" He said, "No, they got a kid. He's pretty good. He's going to get drafted." And I'm like, "I want to go see him." So we ended up going and get it was a rain out. So I didn't get a chance to see him pitch. Make a long story short, that kid was Zach Greinke. Yeah. Anybody, like, you could Wikipedia it. Yeah, like the 1999 CNL World Series. It was won. He was the MVP of the tournament.
Wow.
So I tell people, I said, man, you know, one of the better hitters I ever seen in my life was Zach Greinke. Like, he was actually nice. Yeah.
That's awesome. I mean, I'm so new to it that I don't know everything about baseball, and I don't know everything about, like, you know, those experiences. So when I hear someone who's been there, you're the first person who's mentioned it, you know, anything like at that level. I've met other guys brought on the show who played, you know, JUCO. Some guys even played, you know, D1 and then kind of stepped away from it.
Yeah.
But even to know somebody, have somebody here, host somebody who at that young age was playing at that level is amazing, you know. So I feel privileged for you to have come here now.
I appreciate it. Not bad for old dude.
But that's awesome. So then, so after that, you graduated high school. Where'd you end up going?
So, well, that was my sophomore year, and baseball is so different. I always say to myself, I was like the last of like the old school baseball player, right? It's like, because immediately after me, you have like social media.
Yeah.
You know, you have these different programs. The only way I would kind of like look and see what my competition was doing, because I essentially wanted to be the best. So if I was in right field, I wanted to see what other right fielders were doing.
Right.
So the only way I could do that was to pick up a Chicago Sun-Time. So every morning in high school, I would just run and go get the Sun-Time and say, okay, what did he do? Oh, he's in a paper. He went 2 for 3 against Marist. Oh my God, you know what I mean? So that it kind of kept the competitive, you know, the drive. Especially most of those guys that was in the papers are the same guys I played in JRW with.
Yeah.
So it's like an added, like, you know what I mean? Because
Yeah,
I'm like,
it's the fuel.
Yeah, absolutely. So I used to use that as fuel. And my senior year was nuts as far as how we lost, right? So we had an awesome team. Our biggest threat was always Harlan High School, right? Bunch of draft picks. Kenny Foreman, heck of a coach. Like, he coached me when I think I was like 7 or 8.
Okay.
But that team, those teams they had were loaded, absolutely loaded. And I never had any success versus those guys until the last game of my senior year.
Wow.
Right?
Okay.
I would always, I would be okay, but it wasn't anything to kind of write home about, right? But their season, we end up meeting in the semifinals. The quarterfinals to go to the city championship. And they ended up walking one of my buddies. His name was Junior.
Okay.
So they intentionally walk him to get to me with a base open. So he's a junior, I'm a senior, and I'm like, come on. Like, I know I've been struggling against y'all, but y'all know me. Like, come on, right? So all I can hear is my dad just in the back, because we're at UIC lights. You can't really see anybody in the back, but you could hear him. So I used to always hear my dad. So he jumps up and he says, "You're not gonna let them disrespect you like that. Don't." So I said, all right. I kind of got up there. First fastball I saw, I hit it, and just kind of walked it off. But that's how we ended the high school. That's how we ended the Harlan's, season. The next day, we run into Whitney Young. Now, Whitney Young has two, all-state guys, Jason Freeman and Maurice Benz.
Okay.
And we had the game. And the last inning, Jason hits a 2-run home run over the right field. They're both right-handed hitters too, right? So it's not a common thing. But he smokes one over the right field for a 2-1 shot to tie the game. Maurice Benz comes up next, hits a walk-off.
Wow.
That's how I end my season. That's how I end up my high school season.
Wow.
Right? So, like, you talking about, I went from being, like, up here all the way to, like, here, right? Because, believe it or not, most of the guys that kind of play, you have aspirations of playing, professional baseball.
Yep.
Right? So when that kind of ends, you're like, man, so what's next?
Yeah.
Right? What's next? In high school, I had University of Iowa reached out to me. Of course, we used to have the SWAC schools. So it was like Grambling, Alcorn State, those schools were always there, but you wanted to be like at an Arkansas or one of those big time schools.
Yes.
The only person that we had coming up that was in one of those schools was Marcus Nettles, and he played for Miami. So I remember he was playing in the College World Series. It was cool. Like, he's from Whitney Young. I know this dude, right? So it was like when we saw that became our goal.
Yeah.
So it was no longer, this JUCO.
No, you break that what I call like what I tell people, it's breaking that glass ceiling.
Absolutely.
Once you see it done once, it's easier to replicate it.
Absolutely.
However you get through there is up to you. You dictate that path, but it's about breaking that ceiling. I mean, at a lower level, at a home level, right? Say like I'm a first generation college graduate, and before me it wasn't a thing, right? It was, graduate from high school, go get a job if you even graduate, and I dropped out. I think I've shared it before, and I dropped out of high school, and a few years down the road, I joined the military, and I actually graduated from college at 29.
Okay.
That's after my service, came back, went to school, and I graduated my bachelor's degree. First time I walked across stage.
Nice.
And I did it to break that ceiling for my kids, because now I tell my kids, you guys have no excuse to ever say, I can't do something. I'm like, your father dropped out. Your father had you guys at a very young age, and he was still able to push himself to get there. So now it's only easier. I've already, set the foundation. And when somebody else, even in your neighborhood or your city, you can, you say, identify with.
Right.
Once you see that person is like, hey, you know what? He comes from where I come from.
Right. Yeah.
And he did it.
Yeah.
I can do it too.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can tell yourself your biggest fan should be yourself, right?
Absolutely.
So you say, you know what? I can do this better. I can probably do this too. You know what? I can do it.
Absolutely.
But I'll let you continue.
Yeah. Where were we?
So you're saying so you saw him make it down to the he's I'm assuming D1 school Miami, right?
University of Miami.
University of Miami.
The University of Miami. Yeah. Yeah.
So and you have these schools. Who else besides Iowa was reaching out to you?
So Iowa was reaching out. University of Cincinnati, the Bearcats, and I think those were the two big schools. Everything else was kind of like mid-major or SWAC, right? Because at that time you didn't have a lot of exposure. Like it wasn't. Your coach had to actually kind of tell the other coach about you.
Yeah.
Right. Or we had in my when I went there, our guy was Nathan Durst. Right. So Nathan was the head scout for the White Sox in the area. Right?
Okay.
So you wanted him to know who you were.
Oh. Okay.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So anytime it was like, oh, there go Nathan Durst. Like, you know what I mean? So let me let me bounce around. Especially because it's like he for the White Sox, that's why I want to play. Like,
yeah,
Frank Todd could be up there with Frank.
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean. So you have that as a kid, but yeah, that was a awesome experience. And once again, humbling.
Yeah,
because every single, even when I talked about the little league teams, we would be the big stuff until we went to section, right? And we lost to some people who honestly were not better than us. They just played the game a different way.
Yeah.
Right. And you have to either adjust, right, or you just let it go. Right. So we adjusted. You know what I mean? And even when you see Nathan Durst, and I got a couple of area code tryouts. He used to hold if you were like one of the top Chicago kids, every winter he would put the kids together. I think they still do something similar now. But yeah, he would be there and a bunch of scouts would be there. So they would be like, man, this is my time. You know what I mean? But you get there and you realize, you say, hey, I could hit, but this guy's faster. This guy has a better arm.
Yeah.
This guy fits the bill more, so you have to go back then and kind of humble yourself and just work harder.
Yes.
So it's just like, it's constant adversity, you know what I mean? As far as the levels that you try, because it's so many. There's so many levels.
Yeah, I mean, I've said in another episode, and I'm sure sometimes you can be athleticism will take you so far.
Yep.
At the end of the day, hard work will always pay off. The more you're dedicated to your craft. If you have a goal and you work at it, eventually, one way or another, you're gonna figure out how to get there. And you see guys, make it to D1 schools, right? Just on base, 100% just on athleticism, and then they get there, and that's it. They die. That's where they get. That's as far as they get. Why? Because they thought that they didn't have to work, as hard as you and I, because quote unquote they're gifted.
Yeah.
I'm like, but no, there's always like scouts and teams. They want to see your work ethic. How many guys do we not see? To do a reference of some sport that I play more than baseball, which is basketball. How many guys do we not see get picked up by teams first round picks, and they think they're celebrity divas, and they don't want to show up to practices. And next, they're wondering why they're not performing. Yeah. And next, 1-2 years down the road, they're out of the league.
Right. Yeah.
How many first round picks are still in the game?
Yeah, absolutely.
Very few. And it's the guy who like you said, can adjust, can self-reflect and humble themselves. You know what? These guys are better than me. I look at not to be cliche and jump on the hating LeBron James bandwagon, but if we look at his kid, it's not his fault. It's not his fault, but I mean, truthfully, was he ready for the NBA? I don't think so. I think he still needed some more work to keep continue to work on his craft.
Mm.
Can he play in the NBA? Sure. But was he ready? Once he was very quickly humbled. And even when he went down to the G League, same thing. There's guys there who want it just as much, and they don't have, dad to kind of bring them in.
Right.
So, it's nice to know that, and that you were able to kind of say, okay, these guys are, better at this. I'm going to keep working harder. And now let that be like, you know what? Maybe this isn't the path for me. You kind of knew what you wanted to go. So,
yeah, it was just a dream. But honestly, I think the coolest thing for me is I always had the really, really good guys, right? As far as like talent, I always had them right in front of me, right? So I mentioned Vince, but we had the outfielder named Anthony Brewer.
Okay.
And Anthony, he was second or the third center fielder in the nation at one point. But to get better, I used to do the drills with him. You know what I mean? So it was like he was running a 6.5 60. I'm not a 6.5 60, right? But to get faster, right, I ran with him. So he would smoke me.
Yeah.
And like he would talk crap too. Like, man, get the slow dudes. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? But it's like it got me better. And and also made me realize, hey, look, you need to work. If this is what you want to do, because he's pursuing the same dream.
Yes.
Right. So if he's pursuing the same dream, you can't work as hard as him. You have to work harder because honestly, you're not as good. Right. So that kind of fire, like it just stayed with me.
But see, there's what's that other saying? Iron sharpens iron.
Absolutely.
So when you have someone like that, like you said, you're surrounded by, those people, and you start to work out with them. You're also fueling them because you every time they'll notice when you're catching up to them, and like and the next you know you're next to them.
Yeah, I wasn't backing down. No, I was not backing down. No, yeah.
And some people, I know in some cases some people it rubs them the wrong way, but other people they want to see you succeed just as much as you want to see them succeed.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. And how'd you make your decision? Where'd you end up going?
So, University of Iowa. So I went down and we went to a football game or something, right? Just to kind of show the campus and things like that. So I was like, yeah, Hollywood. I'm like, this is my sophomore year. So I'm like, yeah, you know what? I think I'm gonna go pro, right? So the coach was like, hey, come down for the summer. We got like this little summer camp. I want to see more of you, et cetera, et cetera. It's like, yeah, okay. So the next year he gets fired.
Okay.
Because they're like the worst team in the Big Ten. Like, so I'm like, okay, I know why you needed me. Because you're going to get fired. So then it was like that connection was kind of gone.
Yeah.
Right. Because now the new coach doesn't know you. Right. So then I thought about going to Grambling. Right. But a big thing for me was my dad. Right. Because he was at every game. He always just wanted to kind of just be around me. I know with his job he couldn't. So my thing was I wanted to stay local, right? And I wanted to try to do my thing local. Hopefully something happens. Yeah. And then, then I can retire him, right? And he could just travel with me and all. So yeah, that was it. So the first year I waited to the last minute. I went to Parkland, which was, I believe it was a D2 JUCO. They were pretty good. And I looked around and the guy said, hey, you're awesome. But honestly, we've had our team filled since February, right? So I'm contacting him in May or June. And he was just like, the only thing I got for you is you got to pay your way. You got to, you got to do this. You got to do this. So I was like, yeah, I'm not paying for college. I don't want to do that, right? Because I felt like that would be more of a strain on my parents. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I said, no, they already invested so much into me. So the last stop was one of my friends went to Olive Harvey, right? So I went there. He was like, man, you should come here. And I said, no, it's a city college, right? It was like, at the time, like city college was like, it was like a no-no. Like, I mean, like the worst. Up
until recently, I didn't even know city colleges had a baseball team, period.
Me either. So I get there and I meet this guy named Mike Mate, right? So I sit down with Mike And Mike is like, yeah, we're going to be D1 and we're going to play all this. So he shows me the schedule and we're playing like Southern University, Delgado. He's like, this team is ranked and you're playing, you're in the same conference as South Suburban and Kish, Triton. Those were the 3 schools you wanted to go to. If you were going to a JUCO in the Chicagoland area, it needed to be South Suburban, Kish, or Triton, right? You were on the right track. Olive Harbor, you were not on the right track. But what I said to myself is, I said, okay, if we're in the same conference and I make all conference or something like that, right? We're playing the same competition, I should get the same looks. So I went there my freshman year, and it was an awesome experience. Most of the guys are still, to this day, we communicate almost every day. One of my brother, I don't even call him my friend anymore, he was a transfer in. So he came from a school, Miles College.
Okay.
And we just connected. But that was an awesome experience. But I would say this, at the end of year 1, after we got eliminated, we lost to Kish. We shouldn't have lost. Guy drops a fly ball in the outfield or something like that. It was just crazy. But I looked at it and I said, baseball to me wasn't strong enough. Like the competition wasn't like how I envisioned.
Yeah.
I hit very well. I think I hit like 390, 400 or something like that. Hit very well, but it just, I didn't feel, it wasn't motivating me.
Yeah.
Right. So I asked the coach for a leave. He says no. So then at that point, it's like you got to sit out.
Yeah.
Right. So I sat out. So I went from playing, and then sitting out. So now I'm just kind of just hanging out. Right. I'm going to school, just kind of hanging out.
Yeah.
So I ended up playing Skyscraper. I don't know if have you ever heard of a Skyscraper League?
I have not. No.
Skyscraper League was probably the best league in the Chicagoland. Okay. I started playing Skyscraper when I was a junior in high school.
Okay.
One of my friends who graduated from Simeon, he played on a team, and they needed a player. The thing with Skyscraper, the beauty of Skyscraper, one was the location. We played right there on Halstead, so the backdrop was just nothing but downtown. So it was beautiful. It was beautiful. But 2, they had the most talent as far as people getting picked up from the Cubs, right? And they get released, right? And they need work. Yeah. This is a place where they would go.
Okay.
The scout will go see them there at a UIC game. So we get these texts, and they would say, hey, LG, I need you tonight. Our right fielder is gone. But we got this kid coming in from University of Arkansas looking to get picked up from the Dodgers. So he's throwing like 93, 94. They probably won't hit him, but just stand the outfield.
Yeah. And
that was the competition at UIC.
Wow.
It was, you're sitting and you're rubbing elbows with ex minor league players.
Yeah.
And it was like, wow, like this is really happening. And it was but it was very competitive, very competitive. Yeah. So that was, junior year, and it's happened. Well, I played 6 years there with a couple different teams: the Orioles, Titans, the River Bandits, American Giants. But that is when I kind of learned like how to be a professional, as far as because I would kind of just mirror behind them. Mm-hmm. So if they were taking BP, I want to take BP too. Yep. They taking flips, I'm taking some flips. Yeah. Like, you dig what I'm saying? So whatever y'all was doing, I want to do too, because I want to get to the level that you guys are.
You got to surround yourself with the right people that have the same goals as you. Mm-hmm. is what I say. And a lot of people, successful people, whatever that is to people, say that you got to surround your circle needs to have the same goals in mind.
Absolutely.
Because if they don't have the same goals in mind, they're gonna distract you mm-hmm. or pull you down.
Absolutely.
But when you all have the same goals, you're all working for the same mindset, and you're again, iron sharpens iron. Mm-hmm. You're rubbing elbows with them, Absolutely. And they're teaching you stuff that you can, and you're probably teaching them stuff that you don't even mm-hmm. know that you're teaching them.
It's hard. I would say this: it's really hard to teach someone who's been like in double A? Like even double A is so hard to get to.
Yeah.
Like it's almost impossible, right? So they've accomplished a level of baseball that you're aspiring to get to.
Yeah.
So when you kind of rubbing shoulders with that, for me, I just listen.
Yeah.
Right. I'm gonna shut
It's
up.
that moment where you're just like, shut up, just pay attention, look for those little details.
Man,
everything.
If you're telling me, what I see is when you go in the opposite way, you kind of lunge and open and things like that. It's like, oh, okay. So let me pay attention to that. Let me work on that. Like before, so the next time you see him, I want you to say you're getting better.
Yes.
Because that was the validation for me.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
It's like if he says I can play, okay, he was in double A. He said I can play. Okay,
That's
I'm
awesome.
gonna have a shot. Right?
That's awesome.
You're dreaming, but that's how it's going.
Dude, when I tell you, not this past year, last year when I flew down to Arizona with the Nationals, a couple of the guys who were down there said they knew some of the guys that played in the D-backs.
Mm-hmm.
Now these guys are bullshitting.
Mm-hmm.
This guy's got to be bullshitting me. No, watch this. This. They pull out their phone and it's like, dude, like we played baseball, back in the city with them, and they're like, hey, you guys want to come over to the house? Like they went to their house. They were drinking till like 3:00 in the morning at these guys' house, and I'm like, what? That, to me, I'm just like you. I grew up on the south side of Chicago, the Midway Gage Park area, and I can't say I know anyone famous. Even if it's if you want to say, hey, they're just a role player in a pro level team. Regardless, they there. Yeah. I'm not there. I wish I was there. Yeah. And to know that like wow, and it was a big culture shock for me. That year when I to know that such a like our city and our leagues, our local park district leagues, men's leagues, have a lot of talent. Yeah. That for one reason or another they didn't make it, but that didn't take away their talent. Right. And it's like you say, at the end of the day, it's humbling to see that. Mm-hmm. When I go out there and I see these guys, like they're throwing how fast, how hard, consistently, hitting the ball. Well, I was going through one of the Brewers stats earlier today. As you know, I've been doing the whole spotlighting people. As a matter of fact, Duff. Mm-hmm. I mean, 19 years old, playing JUCO right now, and I kind of picked him for that poster just off the fact that not everybody knows him. Okay. I know you mentioned is like, why don't you do Joba, do Julian? Everybody knows Joba. Everybody knows Julian. Yeah. Like they don't need the spotlight. They already they have it. Even if they don't want it, they have it.
Yeah, Joba definitely doesn't want it.
So I was I looked and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna do Kyle. I picked Kyle. I like his game. Mm-hmm. And when I looked at his stats, I actually got his college stats and high school stats to put on the poster because they couldn't get his Blue
Island. He went to high school?
Yeah,
I thought that was Blue Island.
No. Those are not Blue Island. I mean, I couldn't get them. Oh, okay. So one way or another, I'm gonna put some type of numbers out there. Right. As long as they're real.
So what was that from last year?
That was I believe all together. So JUCO like combined gives it the total, and I was like, I looked at it, man, he's real good. Yeah. He's really, really, really good. And he's going the JUCO route, and I've heard a lot of now. When you were there, that was a long time ago already. Mm-hmm. And I've heard hit or miss stories about JUCO nowadays. Mm-hmm. Say that like the transfer portal is like just saturated with people. Yeah. So it's really, really hard to get seen. Mm-hmm. But his numbers are great. And I've seen him on the Sox. I might not have his actual stats from the Sox. I saw him play.
But the eye test, you're talking about
the eye test, and I've seen him play. Right. I know he's like those numbers are real. Yeah. And I just thought, I'm gonna spotlight him. And that's how I picked him. But I digress. My point is that there's a lot of talent, and I was humbled to know that. That even within the league, the only league, well, I know a few leagues at this point, but in the league that I'm mostly in, there was such talent, Oh yeah. And but that's great. So talk to me. How'd you come across the White Sox? How'd you end up being on the White Sox? I know you mentioned you were on another team. How did that How'd that happen? How'd you meet Vic?
Oh man. So Vic went to I believe he's 2 years younger, right?
Okay.
So my senior year was his sophomore year,
Okay.
right? So he went to the rival school. So it was Simeon, right?
Okay.
It was Harlan. So he played, and he also played in the Skyscraper League. And he tells me he remembers me, but I was like, I was in La La Land, right? I'm whatever. And so we were playing for the championship in the Azteca League.
Okay.
And we jumped out 2-0, right? It was best of 5 series. And the next week, we ended up losing 2 games. So he jumps in my inbox. So I'm like, just, hey, bro. I'm like, who the heck is this? And he says, come on, bro. You can do it, bro. You can do it. And I said, bro, I don't know who you are, bro, but I need some help. Because at the time, it was like, I was the only pitcher on the team. We had me and another guy. We kind of like, it was buddy ball, but, we were pretty good.
Yeah.
But that team, man, it was, they had 2 or 3 guys. They had 2 brothers, the Ruiz brothers.
Okay.
And, they were just making plays, and it was just like little stuff throughout the game was kind of weird. You know what I mean? So game 5, he kind of gave me a pep talk, right? So, we ended up losing game 5, right? But I always remember that conversation because we were at a rival school, and he didn't have to. Like, he could have just sat on the side and could have just, whatever.
Yeah.
But he took the time to say, hey, bro, like, you can do it. I believe we root for you, stuff like that. So that meant a lot to me. And a couple of years later, he puts a team in the Washington Park League, right? So, he's there, and it's a lot of animosity, but I couldn't really understand why. So we had a kid. His name was Josh, right? His name is Josh Wan. So Josh Wan got on Facebook after, and he said, you guys choked, and it's your fault, and da-da-da-da-da. And he's going crazy. Now, mind you, he pitched game 5. So, and it was I actually told the coach to pitch him because I felt like the sauces, they could hit fastballs, right? But they couldn't hit the junk. They were struggling with the junk, right? So I said, okay, let's just throw another junk ball. He had success, with them. And we lose game 5, and the next year he's talking about, yeah, man, I can't wait. You guys are choke artists, and I can't do this. And so I get upset. I'm on there. I'm going crazy. What do you mean? And we were just a team, and I'm going crazy. That gave me that motivation.
Yeah.
So I wait we joined the league that he was in. And I said, bro, it was my birthday, right? So I had plans to go out and eat a nice steak. But I said, before I do that, I want to make sure I play against this guy. Yeah. I just want to make sure he pitches, right? So, after the game at Washington Park, we celebrate, and then we head to the other game to play, which was, it was called the Loyalty, I believe the Loyalty Panthers or the Loyalty White Sox. Anyway, he was on the team. When I knew he was pitching, I put on my cleats, and that was it. I hit 4th in the lineup. Okay. And first guy gets a hit, right? And they're upset, like, because they're like, yeah, he was talking about us on Facebook. And yeah,
we'll come back to that.
Right. So second guy gets up, he gets a hit. Third guy gets walked. Now I'm up. For some reason, Jackson Park, we're at Jackson Park. I didn't play a lot at Jackson Park, but I don't remember a lot of fences. But some reason that day it was a fence.
Random.
It was just random. I was
random fence.
I was like, this is just God just shining on me, right? So I get up and I'm just upset. I'm like, yeah, all this stuff you were talking. First pitch he throws, I hit a ball dead center, right? Home run, come out. We do our little thing and stuff like that. So I just look at him, like give him like a little mean stare, and then that was it, right? I kind of left. I said, okay, it's my birthday. You guys got it. Yeah. Because like at a point it was like, I want to say like 6 or 7-0, right? So I said, okay, you guys got this. I can go enjoy my birthday.
Yeah.
After I leave, Vic pulls up, right? He pulls up. So I guess he was getting calls. We have talks about this. So he gets a call and he says, man, what's going on at the other game? Man, they kicking our butts, man. LG got up there and hit a home run and left. So Vic was hot. Now, Vic came in to motivate his team, right? But in the course of motivating his team, I guess he must have said something that rubbed the guys the wrong way, right? So the guys were being oversensitive, right? That's essentially, I got the call the next day. They ended up beating him. We ended up winning. But the next day, it was like, man, Vic was going crazy. And I'm like, this is the same guy who was in my inbox that was just saying, like, you know. Yeah. So I had a conversation with him. I seen him at the park. I had a conversation with him. He said, man, bro, why you do my team like that? You know, but because essentially that's how we were raised, right? Yeah. Like it was like, I want to beat you real bad, but I respect your game. Yep. Right. So it was always respect. And it's kind of I would say this about Vic, and I don't want to talk too much about Vic because he's not here to defend himself. Right. But what I will say is he is a special person, and real ball players understand the steps. Remember I was telling you about the steps and the levels? Yes. He understands the steps and the levels. So you can't come to a guy like me or Vic or Dave Arnold or Mike Martz and say that you're this type of ball player, because we've seen almost every ball player on this, except like a professional, right? When I mean professional, I mean major league. Yes. Like we've seen guys in rookie ball, all that. So you can't say that you're this or you're that, and you're coming in front of one of us, right? We're going to kind of know. Yes. It's only, you know what I mean? There's levels. Yes. Right? You can have a respect for the game, but there's levels, there's tiers in everything in life. So he respected me, and I respected the fact, because I didn't really get to see him play like that, but I respected the fact that I saw what he was doing at a very, very early point. I saw that he had a bunch of young men, right? He's running 2 or 3 different ball clubs, and he's here, he's there, and I'm just like, bro, how are you doing this? Like in one Sunday, you're at 5 different places. How? And then you still want to play too. You know what I mean? So he got my respect on that. So that next year we ended up merging, and it's been peaches ever since. Nice. See, that's the stuff that I wanted to know. And so here's what I've seen when it comes to the White Sox, and then I want to talk. I want to address the elephant in the room. I got an elephant too. So I've been to quite a few games of the White Sox, and one thing I've seen is a lot of people respect him. On the White Sox team, I don't think I've seen anyone ever question him. And if they do, they back down really fast. Because why shouldn't they? Like you said, well, from a little bit that I know of him, he's managed multiple teams, and at this point, he's won multiple championships as a coach. I don't know how many rings he's won as a player, but as a coach, right. I know of 3. I've been. I can't say I've been personally there for the Washington Park one, but for the other 2, I was there. So, he knows what he's talking about. And when I've seen some guys trying to get a little bit out of pocket at the games, he tells them nope. As a matter of fact, I think I've seen him bench people. When they question him or something, he's just like, you know what? There's a long list of guys on that bench who want playtime, and that's just counting in Blue Island. He's like, there's guys in Washington Park who I can call. Hey, I need you to come over here right now, and they'll come. And I've seen it. And to me, it's been amazing to see how he manages. 50, Jesus, probably more than 50, it's 70 guys. It's very hard to do, especially if you have people that have talent or think they have talent. Because everybody thinks that they're a star. Everybody thinks this. But when you can have someone that says, hey, look, I need you to lock in on this role. I need you to do this. Yes. It takes a special type of person to want to do it, 1. And then 2, it takes a special type of person to be able to deliver that message and get it done, right? I've tried, I failed. Right, I had my own team, and it was tough.
It's tough.
It's very tough, and I could actually still like play, like So that's a skill. And I always tell them that's a God-given talent that to be a leader of men, just in that facet is tough.
Yeah,
special.
So that being said, why do the White Sox think that I don't like you guys? Where does that notion come from?
So I can't speak for any other White Sox, right?
I mean, I can speak to most of the White Sox that tell me, bro, we like you. Please come to more of our games.
Yeah.
So I want to know, like, where does that notion come from? Say, hey, the White Sox don't like you, or you think you don't like them? I should say.
The first year, I don't know if it was something that you said, or it was a bet, or something like that, where you basically put out that the Brewers dropped the ball. Right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
That was I stand by that.
Okay.
I said it. I put it out there, and I know that there's a screenshot floating around out there.
But let me ask you this: Did you see the series?
I did see the series.
Okay.
I did see the series, but I will say that to me, any team who goes up on a lead, basically you're just one game away.
Okay.
I mean, you're never out of the running until the last out, right? But you can't. It's like saying you can't say that the year that Golden State got swept in a championship that they didn't drop the ball. Like, bro, how do you get reverse swept? Like in the championship at that, like like that is on you. That is 100% on you that you allowed that to happen. Not to discredit the other team. The other team had to come back from that, but
or not.
Or not, and that scenario, I was rooting for the Brewers, so I was like, hey, you know what, you guys had it, and you let it go.
Right.
You couldn't stay locked in, whatever reasons they want to say as to why that happened, or hey, guys got hurt, or whatever it is, doesn't matter. At the end of the day, they did that, but I did stand by my quote, but that to me it wasn't to say that I didn't like the White Sox.
Right, you were just rooting.
I was rooting for a team.
Right.
That was even this year. I will go back and say that I was rooting for the Brewers. I was rooting for them. Not that I didn't like you guys, because I'll say there's something, and I'll speak on it because me and Dre spoke about it after it happened.
Okay.
When we played you guys, because I was on the Nats.
Okay.
Right? So when we played you guys in that in the playoffs this year, most people thought I was just photographing and videographing the Nats. But
you were stealing signs, bro.
What in the back of my head, not to doubt the team that I was on, I was like, I have to cover my bases because I'm big. This is bigger than just me, and this is just bigger than the Nationals.
Right.
Like, you know what? The White Sox are the champions. They're the defending champions. And they can very much beat us and make it to the next round. And if I have nothing to show for them, what am I going to post on the Blue Island page? So you know what I started to do? After the first game, when I shot mostly all the Nationals, after that, I started taking small clips. That's probably when you saw me go around when you were pitching, take some photos and videos and stuff like that. Started going to your dugout and get some of that. Not because I was like counting the Nats out the game,
right.
Because what if? You know what? And now it's like, I wouldn't do that if I didn't like you guys. I don't think there's any team in the league that I don't not like.
Right.
I don't have a problem with anyone in the league.
You just want to see your guys win.
I want to see my guys win. The team that either I'm on or the team that I'm rooting for to win. But you know what? At the end of the day, I went over there and I took the video. Nobody told me, hey, you got to go do this. I just did it on my own. Because
you did a really good job too.
Thank you. And because I wanted to show you when you guys won, like I made the video immediately. You guys winning, making it back to the ship. And I remember Dre messaging me and telling me, I think we spoke on the phone, and he's like, Edgar, that hurt to see the video. He's like, 'cause I didn't know you were doing that. He's like, I'm like, you got to see it from a little bit bigger picture.
Right.
It's like they still need to shine, and I got to make them shine. And I did that, and after that, it was just fun. It was all fun for me, Once we got to the championship games, like I wanted the Brewers to win because I do talk to them a lot, and that was I had a favorite. But at the end of the day, I was like, I showed up with the White Sox jersey. Yeah. Like I'm Vic's like you look you fit right in.
Yeah. You lost the bet, right?
No, I didn't lose any bet. Okay. I was just like I just told him like I'll show up with the White Sox jersey. I was like I told him like I'm a White Sox fan, period. So I'm even when we're having the worst season in history, I'll still wear my jersey like proud.
Yeah.
And I showed up there and I followed both teams, and there's no denying it.
Right.
You guys were an amazing team. You guys made an amazing run in the playoffs. And you guys...
You're talking about 2023?
This year. This year. You guys did an amazing run. And honestly, you guys dominated that championship. And, but now it's, hear it here on the stream for anyone who's ever thinks that. It's like, I don't have... You'll be seeing me in your guys' dugout next year. You'll probably see me more. See me more in there if I'm welcome in there. I told Vic himself that I'm more of an individual. If you welcome me and you make me feel like I'm like at my home, I will go out of my way to go. Because at the end of the day, it's Sundays. You're usually taking time away from your families to go out there. So for me to say I'm gonna just make a point to go to your game, it's a decision that needs to be made where my kids are like, hey, I'm gonna go over here for 3 hours, and I want to be there, feel welcome. I don't want to feel like I'm the oddball out of the bunch. I was like, man, I want to feel just like I might not be on your team, but I'm trying to make you look good,
But let me play devil's advocate, right? So let me ask you this: if you know that you're playing another team. Right. And then the guy is over here and saying, I kind of want these guys to win. How would that kind of make you feel?
I guess it just depends on, do I know the individual? If it's just some random Joe Schmo, I'll probably kick him out of my dugout, period. It's like, man, go stay your ass over there.
Right.
If it's some random individual, I don't know. But I think at this point, even at that point, in the year, like I think everyone in the league knew me, and knew that I was there. If I was in your title, I was trying to take pictures of you guys and stuff like that, because at the end of the day, I need content right now. Like you weren't there at the meeting this past week, but I said I can't make a poster about you if I don't have a photo of you.
Right.
Like that's where the problem starts. Like some teams hired me, I have lots of content for them.
Right. And
other teams, I might have gone out of my way to take a couple of photos for them. Because I'm thinking bigger picture. I'm thinking in the future, this is gonna come across the road. So yeah, I mean, would it be like, I guess to me it's like, would I be like super upset and things like, no, I'm like, I think everyone's entitled to root for a team.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, especially once you're out of the contention, right?
I always say this, and this is what people don't understand. The really good ball players in the Chicagoland area all play together.
Yeah.
I guarantee you. There is a string or something that kind of ties everybody together. Yep. Like DT, Derek Taylor. Yeah. Stud.
Yep.
Right? So Petrowski, and we ended up winning a championship with them in Tinley. DT is really, really good friends with Dave Arnold. Dave Arnold dominated his whole life. Right, and then went over to Petrowski and dominated there. Yep. Right, that's where the White Sox kind of. So it's like if you kind of look, like we're all kind of intertwined, right?
The more
so we know each other, right? So even Gunnar, right? So everyone was saying I've never played against Gunnar, but they know, I believe his brother, and him as well from Petrowski. So everybody kind of knows it's kind of hard. As we're getting older, guys kind of drop off and more guys kind of come in. But it's really all the good guys are kind of they know each other.
They know each other, and I've noticed that. I'm still very much like a baby, in the scene, and I've noticed even at the meeting, there's like everybody knows each other. No one here is like I've never met this man in his life. He's like we've all been around, in the game for they say 10, 15, 20 years. He said we played against these guys in different leagues and stuff like that. Just so happened that now we're all in the same league. You know,
Right.
maybe we might be on different teams, but we know we know exactly who you got. We know exactly maybe I play with those guys like you said in Petrovsky, and I'm playing here. So I get it.
Even Henry, Henry Perez.
Yes.
With the
Elite.
Elite. I used to play football with Henry.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was a league out in by O'Hare. You can probably ask him because he probably remembers.
I mean, he'll be here next week on the podcast, so I'll ask him about it.
So we played with. We had some twins. One guy was a quarterback. The other guy was like a wide receiver, and I think Henry was a center. That year I played defensive end and tight end, and we had fun. So that's why I know Henry from. He didn't even realize I didn't even know he knew anything about baseball, right? So it came across, and I saw him advertised. I was like, "Wait, you baseball?" Like yeah, MSL. I'm like, "Oh, I used to play in MSL." So it's a very small. Baseball is like a very small, especially in Chicagoland. It's very small.
Yeah,
it's very small.
Yeah,
everybody knows everybody.
Yeah, and I've done my fair share of like, trying to get around and getting to know people, and because I want to grow as myself as a content creator and as a photographer, as a business owner, want to grow, and I need to be able to get to know people, and because that people open doors for you elsewhere.
Yeah.
I don't use it's not to see people as using them. It's like you make an authentic relationship, and down the line, they might open the door for you, or you might open the door for them. But it's about building relationships, and that's what I'm about. And I tell people, every time I hear, so and so thinks that you don't like them, or they don't like you, I'm 36 years old, and I kind of reached I realized that not everyone's gonna like you,
right?
And that's just a matter of fact. They might find that they don't like this about you, they don't might like that about you, and that's it. Maybe you looked at them the wrong way, and you didn't even mean to. You maybe just looking down that way.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
You know what? And at first it used to bother me a lot, but now I don't. Now I just you know what? I know that I have good intentions. And what I do, because I'm trying to spread positivity.
Right.
And if you don't like me, you don't have to. And I move on. But I do give an effort to try and reach out and see why is it? Is it a misunderstanding? If it is, I rather clear it up. It's like, man, I meant no harm. I'm not trying to diss the team or anything at all. Like, I like you guys. I think you guys are well deserved of the 2 rings, and you guys got 2 rings, and you guys are going for the 3rd ring right now. There's teams who may not say that they moved here, because they because they felt the competition. They want to see what you guys are about, because you guys made noise.
Well, out of the teams that joined, I think we've played everybody.
You played everybody?
Everybody. Like us and Leon, always heck of a series, heck of a game, trash talk, but it's all respect.
Good.
Right? The Braves, young up and coming team, respect. The Elite, we know what the Elite are about, right? Respect. So it just, once again, it comes down to who the guys are, right? There's a pecking order. You know who the guys are.
Yep.
My frustrations with the league is that, for me, the league is always best when it's kind of homey, as far as like small town baseball. Small town baseball is different than like big time, So I used to always just enjoy coming to Hart Park, right, and seeing guys that didn't necessarily have as much talent, but they had the love.
Yeah.
That inspires. And, so I kind of take that and go somewhere else. Now, it's not like that anymore. Now you have every game is going to be crazy.
Yes.
It's going to be crazy. But I'm not worried about it. And I don't think the White Sox are worried. I don't think Leon, I don't think any of the guys that's used to that type of baseball is worried about it. But I also don't think that the guys who never experienced that type of baseball understand what's coming.
I agree.
That's my fear.
I agree.
Because there are some good guys, right, that will say, you know what? No, this is not fun anymore. I don't want to spend my Sundays getting my teeth kicked in. And you don't want that.
Yeah.
Right? You want good baseball, but you don't want that. But
yeah. You know,
it is what it is.
I think that every league wants to improve. And there's, like you said, there's levels to it.
Mm-hmm.
I am 100% with you, and that the reason how I came across Blue Island was through a friend, and he says, "You want to see that type of baseball?" He's like, "Go to Hart Park,"
mm-hmm.
and that was exactly what I saw.
Mm-hmm.
Now the league has changed in the 2 years that I've been around, has changed, and going in the third year has changed even more.
Yeah.
But to me, I take it as just like, you know what, it's part of the process. I think every team, right, it's still going to be very homey. It's just going to be very competitive. We're at 20 teams right now. Last year we had more. We actually had more. I think we had 24. We had more than 24, and then plus all the dropouts, we ended up like at 22, 24 teams.
Right.
But if you think about it, there was, not to discredit other teams, but there was like maybe 3 or 4 teams at the bottom of the standing who they were just kind of like getting it, to them, take it to them, by the rest of the league, because there was clearly
a skill gap.
A skill gap. Fortunately, those teams are no longer with the league. They parted ways with the league, but we gained teams. We gained teams who are ready for that, who have, like you said, you guys have been facing them before. It's not the first time. So that culture shock isn't there so much as you might think there. It could potentially be there. I think that's gone. But I do think it's still going to be less blowout. There's going to be, hopefully, in theory, less blowouts and more just like more competitive baseball overall, where it's like again playing that small ball, where you can't just try to be knocking it out the park all the time, because unless you're playing a hard park, not throwing shit at people who just love playing a hard park, it might not make it over the fence, and you're just popping out while the other team is just playing small ball, fundamental baseball, put it in play and letting you make the plays. And if you're making the plays, that's where the difference is going to be, in my opinion.
These I just speak for Leon, right? Leon,
they're in the chat right now.
Oh, that's good. I'm not even watching my phone. But Leon has a really nice young core. These guys can just flat out just rake. You give these guys fences, oh my God. Oh my God. See, that was the thing with us, because we played the style of ball, and to beat the White Sox with no fences, just play all the way back.
Yeah.
And we'll hit them right to them. Or we'll have to hit it so far that, they're just, they can't get it. But these are like 500-foot shots. And it's like, who can do this on a consistent basis? Right? So you get over to Blue Island, and it's like, okay, well, if I actually get into one, I can actually get rewarded.
Yes,
right?
yes.
That's the beauty. That's the beauty. The bad part about it is you have to have the pitching to be able to sustain. If not, then, because everybody has that one guy.
Yeah. Every team does have one
right?
guy. One guy, yes.
The good teams have 2 or 3.
Yes.
Right? That's the difference. That's going to be the difference. So when that one guy comes off and you bring the other guy in who's not as good, that's when you're going to see the skill gap.
Oh,
you understand what I'm
yes,
saying?
Yes.
That's the difference.
Yes.
That is. It's not. I mean, it's just. It is what it is. There's tiers.
Yeah.
And Leon is a team that's always been kind of structured, like, correctly.
Yes.
Same thing with the elite. Henry worked his butt off, and I kind of see him every year adding players, like top talent.
Yes.
So he's going to come with 2 or 3 guys that can just bring it.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
And it's like, okay, so he's coming off. Okay, here comes another guy.
Yeah, another guy.
Right?
Yep.
And some people are used to it. Some people are not.
I saw. I think the league got a preview of stuff like that when they played fall ball with Michoacan, because Michoacan had 2 dudes that were consistently throwing 91, 92. No one could hit him.
Yeah.
There was maybe that one guy on the team. We're talking fall ball, who was able to hit him, but for the most part, no one else could. And they won the trophy. You know, it's fall ball, but I think this year's fall ball was probably the most competitive in the fall balls that they've had, from what I was told. People who've been around for longer than I have, they can speak on it.
Yeah.
And it's like it didn't feel like a fall ball. It actually felt competitive, like a playoff run. And when I saw that, that's what I envisioned. Like, you know what? This next season, there's gonna be a lot of players like that, and because there's a lot of teams who have, like, it almost feels like a farm system, you know, because that's how I see you guys. I was like, I see you guys
see us as a farm system.
Yeah, like you guys have tiers to the White Sox. Like, yeah, like every player that you have that's on the White Sox team is good, but there's almost like always like if you want to play like I mean, there's so much depth to the White Sox, in my opinion, unless something's changed since the season ended. I've always seen you guys be just like you rotate through pitchers, and I mean, I don't know a bad pitcher that you guys have. Like who can I say is like?
Well, I'll say this. Once again, I don't want to speak for the White Sox, right? But the heart and soul of that team is Elliott, Korn.
Yep.
You know, those guys are like the heart and soul of the White Sox. And they go as far as those guys go. Yeah. Right? So there's not a bunch of different people that keep coming in. So we're always opening up, and we're always like adding, like if you want to play. But you have to understand, those guys, once again, this is me speaking for myself, those guys sacrifice so much. As far as just paying for things, a uniform, of, you know, it's a lot. I don't want to speak, but it's a lot. They don't believe in paying players. That's not what they do.
Good.
Right? But if you want to come over, you want to play with some competitive guys who know how to play. Every one of those guys, Elliott, Southern University, Korn beat Wichita State. Joba played professional ball. So Julian played professional ball. So you look at that type, and it's just, you know, dogs. This is the cliche, but dogs want to be around dogs.
Yeah,
dogs want to be around dogs, and it's just that. And then those guys kind of made it to like a brotherhood. Yeah, now, right. And that's
family. You guys have a family there.
It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. We played 2K together, and we still talking the same way as we do on the field.
That's awesome.
You know, so it kind of hurt me when I saw you said something to the Orioles guy, and that game was funny because they killed me that game. I was on the mound. I was on the mound. So I'll tell you what happened. So we're coming from a Washington Park game, and we're losing I forget who we played in the 2:00 game. So we're playing a team. We're not supposed to. We actually need this for like playoff positioning. Okay. And we end up losing, right? Like our pitcher just didn't have it that day. So we're losing. So we're kind of hard on ourselves, right? So after the game, we go across town and we go to the field. We're all tired.
Yeah.
We're no longer 18, 19 years old. Yeah. Everybody has like mortgages and families and stuff like that. So we play the game, and I look across the field. There's nothing but like college kids. Like, these kids look like they ain't even old enough to drink. I'm like, what's going on? So then, Vic tells me, hey, you want to pitch? No. Who else we got? I'm tired as hell. Like, what are we doing? Right? So I get on the mound, and I'm feeling every bit of my age, and I'm throwing. And my thing is this, and this is, I guess I'll let the cat out the bag. I hate pitching.
Really?
I never liked pitching. I was never a pitcher. I didn't start pitching until, let's say, 30. Like, after like Little League and like a couple years in high school, I was just hitting. Like, that was my thing. I like to rake. But the only reason why I pitched is because the team that I was playing with, the Bears, we didn't have any arms. So I had to, I had an arm so I could throw. So I ended up pitching almost every game. But that was like, 10 years ago. But I'm not a pitcher. So as I'm getting out there, I'm looking at these kids. I'm like, wait, they doing the same drills? Oh yeah, he got college experience. He has college experience. He know how to play. I can kind of see. Even when you're walking up to the plate, I can kind of see.
Yes.
This dude is a stud. Okay, this dude is a pretender. I'll let him get himself out. But these kids, everything I threw that day, they were just on. Like inside out, everything. You know what I mean? Up the middle, shots. If it was a good pitch and I felt like they should have struck out, they're fouling it off the other way, like trying to get a better pitch. I say, yeah, these guys are pretty good. So we like that was the time I had to like look in the mirror. I had to have one of those conversations with myself. I was like, look, I know you old, I know you tired. We can just hang this up now. Like that is embarrassing, bro. We can't do that no more. You understand? My guys looking at me, because I'm usually kind of reliable, right? So I could like kind of. So my guys looking at me like, yeah, what's going on? I said, bro, I don't know. They hitting everything. What do you want me to do? But it was just one of those games, and I think once again, Elliot Armstrong, one of the captains on the team, like 3 weeks after, they'll never tell you because we're a bunch of a-holes. So we'll never tell you the day of, like, it's okay. We'll wait until. So Elliot pulled me to the side. He said, bro, I want to tell you something. I said, what's up, Elliot? He said, bro, that game against the Orioles, you pitched your butt off. So I said, bro, why you being mean to me like this, bro? Like, why you know what I mean? I know I sucked at it. He said, nah. He said, I was on short. They was hitting everything. Those were good pitches, though. Mm-hmm. And he was like, throughout, you still made sure you're hitting your spot. So you just kind of go from there.
Yeah.
And after that conversation, I don't think I lost another game.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I don't think I lost another game.
That's awesome.
Yeah. When we played the Nationals, the Nationals had a bloody sock. Yeah, Drake can attest to this. I showed Dre and Larry, but my cleats ended up rubbing against. Ooh. Yeah, so I'm pitching and I felt the blister, and so I'm like, okay, this hurts. And then like the third or fourth inning, I'm like, okay, I don't feel it no more. Yeah. So about the sixth inning, I'm like, wait, my sock is wet. Like this is bad. Bad. So I'm like, I took off my cleat. I said, yeah, I don't want to see it because I just felt it, tied it up, and we ended up getting out. It was a close game until like kind of the end.
Yeah.
We ended up getting out the game and I pulled off my my cleat and I showed Vic. I say, Vic. He was like, man, you like Kurt Schilling, bro? I said, no. I like Kurt Schilling, but I'm in pain, bro. You got a beer? Like, But yeah, that's the type. I mean, that's why we still play. Like, honestly, awesome. Elliot, Korn, accomplished. Tyler, accomplished. Tyler Hill, accomplished. Julian, accomplished. But we look forward to coming together and seeing each other because you spend so much time, during the summer with each other that, you become family. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So. Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. Well, let's check some of the comments here because I don't want to ignore them. Just to see who's in it. So Sean says like, "Let's go, bro." Sean Elino Garin,
that's my brother.
He's in here. Mamba Wick, he's saying strong. Courtney's in here too. Shout out to Courtney.
Courtney, my dog. That's my dog.
And then you got Rafael Flores, Big Dog Sears. Let's go.
Yeah. Rafi.
Who's he?
Rafi played with us. He won a championship with us at Azteca this year.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And then you got Henry in here. Henry Peters. He says, "What's up, fellas?"
Dog. He's a dog.
Quincy's in here. He says, he's saying 3 trophies. 3 trophies coming your way.
Yeah. That's cute.
Then we got Vernon D. Weaver says 3P coming soon. I think JP was just saying facts to probably something we were talking about. Daryl said
that's the guy. I need the JP. So Jalen plays with Leon.
Okay.
Right? But he also plays with us too.
Yes, I did see that. I saw that in photos.
Now, let me tell you what I love about Jalen. People don't understand how hard it is to just pitch. Like just period. Like especially against a team who can hit.
Yes.
It's people that make it look easy, but it's not easy. And it's very, very hard if you're kind of watching and then have to warm up, especially if this is not what you do on a day-to-day basis, right? So if you have a job and then you come out on Sundays and try to be the weekend warrior, that's very hard to do. Mm-hmm. I put Jalen in a fire because Derek, I don't know if you've seen that game, but Derek hit a ball so hard off of my ankle. My ankle swole up about 2 times the size. Right. So at a point I couldn't even feel my foot. So I'm pitching and I'm like, I can't make it. I can't do it. And Jalen was like, bro, I got you. I'm ready. Like this is to win the ship. Right. And so I'm looking at him, I said, bro, you know what? Go ahead. I got you. You believe? Like we behind you.
Mm-hmm.
He went in and got that last strikeout, and I was just like, bro, I don't know how you did that. Like I don't know if I could. It takes me a while to kind of warm up and open up, but he just came right into the fire. Like I think we had like a 1 or 2 run lead and just closed the door.
That's what's up.
Yeah,
that's what's up. That's what they're there for. That's what you got. That's what people. Your teammates are there to pick you up.
Yeah.
And keep pushing that torch forward. Just like, you know what, it's okay. I'll take it over. I take it from here. So, good. Daryl's in here. He's also agreeing. And then he says there. JP says Vic is the GOAT.
Yeah.
And then let's see here. We got Larry's in here.
Larry Love.
Yep. Shout out to Larry again.
That's my brother.
And then you got Al's in here. He's saying, "What's up?" He's like, First time I saw LG play was in the South Suburban League. They played at Marionette Park with Hector de la Riva."
Yes. Big shout out to Hector. So in 2009, this is I'm gonna tell my age. 09. This is when Hart Park still had the all dirt infield, right?
Okay.
I had a really good high school friend who fell out of baseball for a while, and he was working, and we ended up seeing each other at the mall, and he was like, "Man, I really want to play. I really want to play." Now at this point, I'm like 24, 25, and I'm like, "Man, you know what, man? I'm kind of done with that." Because you exert so much energy trying to make it. Mm-hmm. Once you don't, it's kind of tough to kind of get back, right? Because you're playing a different level of competition, et cetera, et cetera. But he wanted to play, and I was like, "Bro, if you play, I'll play with you." So he was like, "Man, I was riding by the house and I saw this flyer." So it was a flyer for Blue Island. So we were playing with the Park District team. Like it was just a park, and it's like literally me and him were the only guys that play high school ball. Everybody else, they didn't play. So we played the entire summer, and I just wanted to see him fall in love with the game again, But that next year, Hector took over the league.
Okay.
And a lot of the stuff that's happening now, Hector was trying to do in 2009, 2010. Like I was there. I was in his house with his wife and his son and his brother, Eddie, who went to Purdue. Hector, if Eddie comes out, let me tell you, if Eddie comes out and pitches against me, I'm gonna hit you, because Eddie was supposed to play with me a long time ago. But his brother's a dog. But we ended up playing with the Yankees. And I just saw how hard he worked. He would do all the league stuff and then go up and he would announce every player, work the scoreboard and do all of that, Okay. But I seen him this past summer play with the Southsiders, and I was just like, bro, all the work that you did, this is you too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He was very, very happy, and he's very happy about how the league is now. So that's a good look.
That's awesome. You get somebody has to lay down the foundation.
Absolutely.
It just it doesn't get to where it's out of nowhere.
Yeah, and it's really hard on one guy, because I used to see how hard he used to have to work, pumping his own money into the league just to make it. And it's like, a lot of people just don't see that part.
No.
You know what I mean? They just say, "Oh, you got a league, I'm playing, and this is that." It's like it's so many moving parts and moving pieces that kind of go with that.
They think it's just easy. That it's like no, man. Like,
yeah,
so much time gets invested. I can only right now. I can only imagine how many times Alvaro gets called from teams, from players, from like all types of crazy stuff. I don't envy having that job. So we see who else is in here. We got Daryl says LG owes me a drink. So why do you owe Daryl a drink?
Who's that? Daryl?
Yeah, Daryl Robinson.
So we owed, right? So I gotta have something to kind of get me going. So I said, okay, Daryl, how about this? Whoever has the most home runs at the end of the year, then we'll, the other got to buy a drink. So he hits one, like a couple games later, I hit one. And then we go back to Washington Park. Now, Washington Park is no fences. So now we like, bro, I think that would have been a home run. Nah, what you think? That would have been a home run? So he hit some shots. Like Capo is probably one of the naturally strong. Like, you ever just seen someone didn't lift weights, didn't just came out the womb just strong,
naturally strong.
Like, bro, why you that strong, bro? Like, like, you know what I mean? Like, but that's him. So what he's saying is he essentially beat me in the home run race. But I got it tied. So I think I'm actually up, 3-2. So we'll we got to talk about that later.
You got Lance. Lance is in here. He says, my dog. Shout out to Lance, brother. You're always supporting me. You say like, the guys, I tell you guys, you never know. It's like, to me, I get messages from people and always giving me shout outs, and I'm thankful for the support. Yeah. Honestly, I can do a lot of this stuff, but if I don't at the end of the day, you still want to have at least, hey, you're doing a good job from time to time.
Yeah. I think I reached out to you.
Yeah.
And I told you, I said, hey, bro, if you got any, like, send it my way, bro. You know what I mean? Like, I seen the work. You could tell when something is professionally done. Mm-hmm. And like you kind of took your time, and it was, especially the hype video, I was ticked off. Oh, that ticked us off. Oh. So when you showed who's the guy that barks?
Nate,
my boy Nate. Let me tell you something. That hype video before we played, when you said round 2, and he roo, I said we can bark, like, you know what I mean? Like, you ain't get no cool, like, nothing. We get nothing. Like, I think you had us like rolling over some balls. And I'm like, bro, you gotta have better clips than this. But it was dope, and we kind of used that as fire. But that dude, he's special. He's another dog.
Yeah,
and you recognize it.
Yeah,
you see it. You know what I mean? And that's what you kind of play the game for.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I mean, some of that stuff just kind of comes. I don't have a lot of footage, because footage means memory. Memory means more money. Yeah. And everything it's tight. It's tight. And
yeah, it ain't free.
And I remember when I did that video, it's like, I think, if I'm not mistaken, what video was that? There was a video that I did with the song My Way. Mm-hmm. Like, that, to me, like, when I did that, I was like, man, these guys are running it back to back, and I'm like, this is so perfect. I'm a WWE fan. I watch wrestling, so I'm old school, Stone Cold, Triple H, Rock.
When he came up to, and I think you put "Let the Bodies Hit the Floor."
Oh, that one.
And then you put on the thing, whose video is better, and they had like 2,600 views, and we had like 400 views. I said, man, bro, it's because he barking, bro. He got him barking. He, like, we got personality too. You know what I mean? Like, that's cool. Then we had a song. I didn't even know the song. I'm like, bro, what is going on? Why you hate us so much? I'm like, what's good?
See, you gotta be able to just be yourself, Mm-hmm. So shout out to DT. I love working with DT. Every time I'm on the field, mm-hmm. because DT knows. You see, if you follow DT on social media, DT. Mm-hmm. He is a character. He will make you laugh. Mm-hmm. He does. I mean, you can't find an easier person to work with when it comes to that aspect of it. So. Yeah. Those guys, when they see the camera, they're acting a fool. Yeah. And I think that for you guys, for the most part, you guys are a little bit more composed. Mm-hmm. You guys let the game speak for itself. With the exception of a few guys, mm-hmm. You got Bryant. He gets on people's nerves. I love him. Yeah. I love him now. Like, I watch.
But you know what's crazy about just the team in total, not mm-hmm. like singling anybody out. Because we know how hard this game is to play, right? We respect the opposition.
Yes.
What happens is that natural type of enthusiasm, you kind of get carried away. Uh-huh. So then it crosses as disrespect, right?
Yeah.
So once you do that, then it's like, okay, now the dogs are out. Mm-hmm. So now it's like, it's fair game. So you bark, I'm going to bark too. He's a barker. Like, you're not, like, he's not, listen, he's not for any of that. He understands this is a rec league. He just wants to come and play. If you call him whatever, he's going to give you that one time. What you say? You say it again. It's on you. Hey, look, I'm 40. We ain't trying to get, you understand what I'm saying? It's a way you do stuff. You know what I mean? But, and that's with Vic too. Yeah. I can honestly say that about my brothers, that he leads with respect.
Yes.
He leads with respect. The only time you have an issue with him is if there is some type of disrespect from your end. It's never going to come from his end. Like the Brewers. Like him and what's the Brewers? Not the was it JJ?
You got JJ.
JJ. Him and JJ are. I see them talking. I'm like, bro. It's like, yeah, we cool.
Yeah.
Like they're really, really cool. It's because he leads with respect.
Yep.
He understands. Like, and it's just when people kind of take that and kind of twist it.
Yeah.
It's bad.
Yeah.
Like that's one of the main reasons why I wanted to come up. It's just because, as far as just a club, overall club, I don't think that we have a voice enough. So people, and we're kind of, when we play, and then we kind of hang out with each other.
Yeah.
So we'll be on the sideline with each other. We won't kind of intermingle. So if you're looking from the outside looking in, you're like, man, look at these guys, and they just who do they think they are, and et cetera, et cetera. But we're just us. We just come out, like to have fun. You know what I mean? If you were to come over, ask for a beer, we'll probably hand you two. We're those type of guys. But to kind of see like the narrative is like, oh, like I heard you say, I saw one of the guys walk off, and I'm like, was that the game I was getting shelled? I'm like, okay, I didn't see anybody walk off. You know what I mean? Like I didn't see that. Like what you may have heard is Vic trying to motivate. Like, so if he sees you and he knows, I would say this, he knows talent. He knows what you can do. You can't BS him because he knows what you can do. So if you say, no, I couldn't hit that. If he knows that's a lie, then he's not going to believe it. He's going to let you know you can hit that. Yeah. You could have made that play. Like if you were running harder, you wouldn't have got thrown out. Like just stuff like that.
Yep.
So, our way of playing ball is different, but we respect the game. Like we love facing Leon. We love facing teams like the Elite because it's always a measuring stick. Yeah. That's all that we know. You know what I mean? It was always, to be good, you had to be the best in your little area first. That's go back to Little League, district. You couldn't make it to sectional without beating district. So the competition always kind of lets you know where you are.
Yes, absolutely.
And the sooner that you know it, the better. Because if you know, okay, look, we are very, very, weak at this, then you have almost, half a summer to figure it out.
Yep.
But it's the teams or it's the people that, that kind of, I would say it's the teams that think they're better. I always try to be a realist. I saw the Orioles. I said, this is not the same. Just like he said in the podcast, this is not the same team as it was. I think we beat them on a walk-off home run. Joba. I think he hit it left-handed too, which is stupid. Like Joba's, I don't know if Joba's gonna watch this, bro. Joba, chill out. You understand what I'm saying? Like Joba, people don't understand what Joba did. Like in that first, it took Superman to win that first championship. A lot of our guys were still at Washington. Like, so we didn't have a lot of our guys, or the nucleus. Like we had Elliott, but we didn't have Korn. So it was kind of tough. So that team, that ring is really, really special because we didn't have a lot of talent. I'm not saying a lot of we didn't have as much talent. We were 10 deep, 11 deep. Like that's all we had. Somebody got hurt, people playing with a messed up leg, whatever. That's all we had. And we ended up, we had to, I think Vic called me up. He said, bro, I've never missed a playoff. And to get into the playoffs, we got to like win 6 out of 8. So I was like, all right, bro, I ain't pitched all summer. At that point, I was just kind of like just chilling. He said, no, I need you. So I started, and we ended up winning like 7 out of 8 or something like that to get into the playoffs. But that 2023 team is really, I feel like we overachieved.
Oh, okay.
Just because the first 6 games, I think we lost. We were like 1-7 or 1-6 or something like that. And I was there. A couple of other guys were there, but a lot of guys, were still at Washington Park. So to kind of come back from that and then come back from an 0-2 deficit is that's kind of special against Dave, which is we love Dave. We know Dave and DT and all those guys. You know, we won championships together.
Yeah.
So we know the caliber that they are. So yeah, that team was special.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think I saw Joba and when we played against you guys in the playoffs, I told Joba, like, hey, you coming back in the game? He said, didn't you just pitch like the other?
Do you remember?
Do what you gotta do.
0-2, like if we lose a game, we're out. Joba pitches the whole 9 innings.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Then he comes back. He's sitting down and he's like, I think I can throw another one.
Yeah. I think I was on the side. When I started like,
bro, I'm sitting there because
really,
mind you,
going back over there.
mind you, he's telling me like, okay, L, it's your time. Yeah. I'm like, bro, my arm, everything is hurting. Like, you know, the 40-year-old is showing. At that time I was 39. The 39-year-old, and Joe was like, I got it. I'll go as long as I can go. And he gets on the mound. He just breezes through 4, and I'm like, bro, what are you on?
That's it. That's how I see him. I'm
you
like,
can't go to GNC and pick that up. Like it's not gonna work out for you. Like you must have pitched like 400 pitches or something like that. It's crazy. But it took Superman for us to get that first one. That's why I say it was special because I haven't seen anything like that in a very long time.
Putting it into perspective in that way, I can see why it's so special.
Yeah, and he also hit in the middle of the lineup. So it's like he's hitting and he's pitching.
Yeah.
It's like, dude.
Well, man, and shout outs to you guys for repeating. It's hard to do. I mean, and I know this isn't pro ball, but regardless, it's hard to do no matter where you go.
Yeah.
So shout out to you guys. We have, see here, Orlando El Caballo Munoz. He's my dog.
Wait. Let me tell you something about him. Munoz. Hey, he is one of the guys when he understands. When I say dog, he's a guy that can get it done from both sides.
Okay. Right?
So we're getting older now, but I want to ring with him out in Puerto Rico. Yeah. So you know, every year they have a 25 and older, 30 and older, 45. So, you know, we were in the 30 and older, I believe. And Munoz said, man, you coming? I said, bro, I don't know. He said, bro, come on, I'm coming. I said, bro, I've never played with you, bro. I'm going to come, right? So I get out there and, you know, it's beaches and it's February. So we're coming from like the brutal cold,
yeah.
Right, to the beaches. So I'm like, man, bro, where Munoz at? So we don't see him at all. Like we don't see him at all. He comes to the first game. The first game is a night game. He's on the side of the stadium, already there, with a beer in his hand, ready to go. I said, bro, what you on, bro? Bro, what you want? I got it. He go out there. He smoked 2 for 3 the first night. We end up getting into a situation where we face the Nationals closer. I can't think of his name. And Munoz, if you still there, he knows the name of the guy. But the first time he lights us up. He think he beats us like 3-1. But then the second game, Munoz actually hits a double that scores 2 runs to beat him. We get to the semifinals. Munoz then goes. He hung over because we partied hard the night before. But he ends up pitching the 9 innings and beating a dude who played in, I think, single A or something like that.
Okay.
So yeah, just another definition of a dog. Like, yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome. His name. Oh, he is in here, and he says his name is Saul Rivera.
There we go. Yep, Saul. Yep. I took a picture with him and everything. Like, yeah, he's a real cool dude. This is the thing. His pitches, even though at that point Saul had to be maybe 30, I would say about 41, 42 at that point, okay? But his pitches moved, I swear. It started here, and by the time it hit the catcher's plate, it was over here.
Wow.
And he wasn't throwing hard, like maybe 80, 82, 83 at the time, but the movement, and as soon as you got cocky and wanted to like lean over the plate and think you were going to catch that outside pitch, he'll bust you inside the 81. And it's like, bro, I can just imagine you when you used to hit like 92, 93, you'll be unhittable.
Yeah.
But once again, it goes back to like the levels and the things like that. But yeah, Munoz is a dog.
And then we have Lance is tagging Joba. He wants Joba to come in here. And then Ralph says Joba got a robot arm. That's how he did it.
Bro, you can't create, like, you can't get that from GNC. You can't get, you can't buy that. You can't.
But we're reaching towards the end, and at the end of the podcast, I always like to open it up to you in case there's something that we missed, that I missed, that you want to talk about, that you want to anything. The mic is yours.
I just want to say this: we, the White Sox, and I can speak for us. We absolutely love Blue Island. We love everything, the way the league is ran. We love everything about it. If there is any negative connotations, I would just suggest, and this is me just playing with people from all different races, right, and background. I would just suggest just coming over and just grabbing a beer. Like, we're not gonna say, like, just move away. Like, we're not gonna say that. We're gonna give you a beer, and you'll understand how much of your story is our story too. Because if you played baseball for this long, we've got some of the same stories, right? We know some of the same. We played at some of the same parks. We've done some of the same things in Little League.
Yeah.
So it's like that common bond. You know what I mean? And as far as, us, of course, we like the music, right? But other teams like the music too. Wait till you see Leon. Hey, they got a mascot.
They got a mascot.
You think I'm capping?
Man, 2025 is gonna be interesting.
They got a mascot. They travel very well.
April needs to come.
Yeah,
it needs to be April already.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's gonna be fun. But yeah, I would just say, we're loud, but we're all really, really good people. Like, really, really good people. And a lot of guys can attest for that. The guys that don't even currently play for the White Sox. There's really, really good people. I would just kind of as far as the competition, just kind of keep it baseball, right? And then, like, it will be nothing else. You know what I mean? But you got to understand that guys played at some really, really high levels. So it's kind of disrespectful to say, you're a bum, because then you're looking and say, okay, well, what did you play? You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But if we keep it baseball, hey, bro, good hit.
Yeah.
We'll always say, cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. So. All right, man. Well, thank you to everyone who tuned in. I want to take a moment to thank you again for coming by, sharing your story, sharing a little bit about, the White Sox, the teams you played with. It was long overdue. There's other people from the team I want to bring still. So it doesn't end here. The buck doesn't end at, I brought you here. It doesn't. This is just, it's the end of this season, but we got a whole other season to go to, starting in January.
Absolutely.
So you'll see more guys, hopefully, when I reach out to them. If they want to come on, they're welcome. But thank you. All right, for everyone else who's tuning in, thank you for tuning into the podcast. I really appreciate the support. I don't even know how many people we actually had on here at one point. The comments really help a lot. And next week, Thursday, I believe it's Thursday at 7:30, we'll have the final episode of the season. And then I'll take a 2-week break for the holidays. And then I'll start season 2 up in January. So tune in next week. Let's help me finish season 1 with a bang. So I invite everyone else to come tune in. I'll host the last one again on the Blue Island page again, so you guys don't have to go anywhere. You guys don't gotta log into YouTube or anything. Just tune into the Blue Island page, show some support, share it, get everybody in here, and then till then, see you guys.